Ukraine's kind of been getting slapped around, so why not show them some support by making them an empire? So yeah, Ukraine Empire time. Woo, fancy. So the first thing that the Ukrainian Empire will do is to invade Moldova, considering it's a pretty easy country to invade. Last words of really any country ever, but whatever. There's multiple encircling movements, and Moldova is eventually captured when the borders are being cut off. Moldova keeps going until the very last moment. And there's also rebels over in Ukraine. So eventually Moldova is finally annexed. They also kick Russia out of Crimea. More revolts are put down over here, which are mainly Russian revolts in the Donbass region. And border conflicts in Russia are kind of settled down eventually. And yes, I am just using that as an excuse to solidify my bad drawing. Over in the Black Sea, we have it mainly. Let's do some transparency. Ooh, fancy. So, over in the Black Sea, which is every racist, most hated sea, that was awful. Oh my god. Here is Ukraine's kind of power in the Black Sea. So after naval battles, they start cutting off more countries from it until they are able to encircle the Black Sea, and with their naval dominance, they're able to fully take it. And like I say, this video is unrealistic, and obviously Ukraine will be buffed in this video. And also please try to, if you have the money, donate to Ukrainian charities to kind of just help them out, send some stuff over. It's a nice thing to do, because just, yeah. I would especially go to SovietMilitaryStuff.com. You can get some really cool items, and there's also a charity for Ukraine because that place is in Ukraine. The next plan for Ukraine is to they don't really. Also, by the way, NATO doesn't exist in this timeline. Is to either cut through Belarus to get to the Baltics, or to advance westward. So they opt to do a little bit of both. Well, they don't really opt to it because there's a coalition formed. With this coalition, we see lots of countries trying to take down the new Ukrainian empire. This being the Czech Republic and Slovakia uniting into Czechoslovakia. Poland also decides to join in, as well as Belarus. This leads to Romania deciding that they want in on this action, and Bulgaria will take care of the Black Sea. This also leads North Macedonia and Greece, which prompts Turkey to not join in. And the Baltic countries decide to just not join the coalition, but they decide that they should unite just in case, because they know that they're stronger together. So now Ukraine has a bit of a problem on their hands. So in the Black Sea, they decide to hold a defensive line. Did I just say Baltic Sea a minute ago? Wow. So the first plan is to start to push into Czechoslovakia, and it's starting to go pretty well. And these borders are going to be horrible. They then start a spearhead through Romania, capturing Transylvania. They then hold a front line in Poland and continue their push in Czechoslovakia until it is fully annexed and capitulated. It does not surrender though. There is a harsh line held around the borders of Czechoslovakia, and it's pretty deadly, but it's going all right for Ukraine right now. There's lots of aerial bombardments like there is in the real war right now. And everyone's kind of stuck in a bit of a stalemate despite Ukraine being buffed, because it's going to be harder to take down a full coalition. There's still more disputes in the Black Sea, and now Ukraine has a bit of a plan to take down Poland. The plan is to cut through here and cause a spearhead through here, wipe and hold the line over here while another force cuts into here, and to annex Belarus so they can take Warsaw. So the spearheads are activated, and then they start a massive push into Belarus. Russia wants to stay neutral because they just kind of lost to Ukraine a minute ago, and they're starting to have political unrest. And Belarus is eventually captured. With this, Russian troops decide to help out their comrades a little, and they start to re-put in the Belarusian border because Ukraine soldiers accidentally went into the Russian border. The line is eventually established, and now it's more Ukraine time. Warsaw is about right here. So Ukraine starts their final spearhead into it. With this, all the spearheads meet up. It's a bit of a mess, but it works so far. But with these spearheads meeting up, it also means there's lots of encircling movements. With this, the forces start to keep pushing up, and they also start to wipe out some of their encircled territory. And then they all decide to regroup and start their push up. Warsaw is eventually encircled, and now there's going to be a very bloody battle. With this, they decide to just keep advancing onto the city. But eventually Poland decides to try to keep the line. They set up outskirts along the city so they can have a better chance of winning. So they're kind of just praying that someone will help them. No one really knows who's going to help them though. These outskirts are starting to be defeated though. So Poland makes a desperate push through here to set up this line while also encircling their capital. And eventually, Ukraine decides to try to get peace with Russia. And so Russia decides to join the war. With this, the cut of Russia's deal is so they can get some territory for Kaliningrad, and after some fighting, they do get that territory, and that leaves the capital a bit exposed. So now Ukraine just had to help out an enemy, but they're okay with that because that means Kaliningrad is more exposed. They eventually encircle it, and Warsaw is completely captured. With this leads to the surrender of Poland. Ukraine just decides to annex it because it's easier to do so. And German and Polish and some defying Ukraine troops try to enter into the German border, but it is eventually stopped at around the front line right here. Border disputes are put down in Hungary and Czechoslovakia, and Romania, Hungary, and all the other remaining countries decide to hold the line. It's a very dangerous line, though, and it's probably not going to go too well. So they decide to call on for some allies. These allies are going to include many countries that they actually hate, but whatever. At least in civilians, by the way. This includes Albania, and also and Kosovo, which isn't on this map, but whatever. Bosnia and Herzegovina also decide to join in the war, and so does Hungary. Serbia just tries to join in on the side of Ukraine, but is swiftly conquered. And all the countries in the remaining coalition decide all just unite, so it'll be a bit easier to take them down. With this, a massive front line is established, and right here, Ukraine's starting to be pushed back, so they create a defensive line, and with this new setup with all these countries uniting, they move their capital to here, while Ukraine is keeping their capital in a nice firm Kiev, which is around here.